MUKORERA.
Good day, Mr. Simbarashe MUKORERA.
Good, thanks, Mr. Shepherd. Thank you for having me on your show today.
Mr. Simbarashe, we are happy to have you on the Entrepreneurship Couch. It is a joy indeed to host people like you. Maybe we can get onto the platform and discuss a few things about you and your business.
Sure, thanks.
Who is Simbarashe MUKORERA?
All right. Firstly, I just want to say this quickly. I have so much tremendous respect for what you are doing. And I believe that this is exactly what we need, a culture of sharing our experiences and also motivating other entrepreneurs that are coming up. I think, thank you so much for having this idea. And I'll just jump into the question of that you have just answered. Well, I'm a technology entrepreneur in the field of media, marketing and advertising. So in the meantime, that's the scope of our work that we are doing. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much about Simbarashe MUKORERA.
Okay. Simbarashe, you are the MD, the Managing Director for AdSpace.
Yes.
What exactly does your business do?
Okay. AdSpace is a digital solution for the media and advertising fraternity. It's really a platform that allows people who are seeking ways of growing their businesses to discover those innovative advertising and sponsorship opportunities that media houses and other media publishers are offering out there. So what we have discovered is that looking at the whole process of looking for advertisement service providers, let's say you have got your business, Mr. Kembo, you want to advertise, right?
Okay.
Looking at the whole process of looking for the advertisements through to launching your advertisement campaign, most of these media houses, they've got what I can say is a daunting task to do. So that's where AdSpaces comes in. We integrate the publisher and you as the advertiser on our platform so that you can easily plan, build, and launch your advertising campaigns within a single platform. So basically, that's what AdSpaces does.
Okay. Maybe before I can get to my next critical question, Simbarashe, a lot of young people of your age are busy throwing CVs. They are still looking for employment. Why have you decided to create employment yourself? Why are you not out there looking for employment?
That's a very good question. To be very honest with you, myself, I believe that entrepreneurship is the solution to all the problems that we are having as a nation. And for a fact, that's entrepreneurs are problem solvers. They come up with solutions. Our nation right now, it requires solutions. And those solutions, they can only be brought by people like me who are entrepreneurs. That's why I decided to delve into entrepreneurship. And also for other factors that people would go into business, like financial freedom.
Sure.
And I think basically for me, that's what keeps me going. That's what fires me up to get up in the morning and start doing what I do best.
Simbarashe, my next question then would focus on AdSpace. Who are your clients? Where are they? How do you go about getting your clients?
All right. So our model it's a very complex business model to begin with, because the solution that we are offering is new to the market, right? Mm-hmm. So we have different stakeholders in our business. So the three different customer segments that I can provide to you is, first, we have got advertisers, which is the brands, the advertising agencies. That's the first customer segment. Then secondly, we have got the publishers, the media house. That's another customer segment. Then thirdly, we have got other companies that want to, like Facebook, other companies like Google that offer us with the ability to put their advertising spaces on our platform. We also run a banner ads. Although that model, we are phasing it out because we don't want to clutter our platform. So, but basically, those are the three customer segments that we serve. So for advertisers, the value proposition that we have for advertisers is simple. You are looking for advertising service providers. We have got all the advertising service providers on our platform. All you have to do is just go on our platform, www.adspaces.co.za, and then from there you can see all the media houses that are listed in various marketing categories, from TV stations, radio stations, website, mobile apps, billboards, green bins, all the media, especially on the traditional, the conventional marketing, conventional advertising options. They are there listed for you. So all these advertising options, they have got known availability, they have known prices. All you have to do is filter through all those advertising service providers, looking for the ones that match your advertising requirements and or your budget. From there, you can simply then book directly the advertising space and submit your advert directly to the publisher without leaving the platform. So what we have done basically is we have taken a process that usually takes hours or days or even weeks to do, and we have compacted it into something that can be easily be done in a fraction of the time that it usually takes. So within a few minutes, you can easily launch an advertising campaign with any media house that you want using our platform. So that's the value proposition that we have for the advertisers. Then for the publishers, we are offering them visibility globally. We are saying we are living in the global sphere right now. So you are as business owners, you should not be limited by geographic boundaries when doing business. So for media publishers, this is what we are giving them: ability to expose their advertising media options to thousands of potential advertisers out there, regionally and globally. And also the ability to save time and in administration costs, because our platform handles all the other back-end stuff. So basically that's what we offer for the publishers.
Interesting, Simbarashe. I've heard you when you said you can also make sure that different clients can have access to even a market that is global market. Are you trying to say maybe whilst I'm seated here in Zimbabwe, I should be able to place an advert regionally and internationally?
Definitely. So how we okay, let me answer you this way. Right now, I think in 2008, when we were having the COSAFA, when Zimbabwe was about to host the COSAFA, a client called Sports Accelerate, a company called Sports Accelerate in South Africa, was looking to advertise here in Zimbabwe. Okay. So, but they didn't have any means of doing that. Right. This is where we came in. It's just unfortunate we lost that client because we were not prepared to host the COSAFA. But that is where we are bridging the gap. Okay. Here in Zimbabwe, you should be able to launch advertising campaigns in South Africa. And by the way, we've recently set up our office in South Africa.
Oh, good.
So right now, our activities are consolidated here in Zimbabwe and in South Africa, with more countries coming soon.
Interesting, Simbarashe. Now, Simbarashe, you have got a very brilliant vision when it comes to advertising and marketing. Where do you see your company in the next 5 to 10 years?
In the next 5 to 10 years? Yeah, that's a very good question. And actually, that's the very question that keeps me awake at night every day. So the vision for AdSpaces is this. We want to grow this company to first regionally and then globally. So by the next 10 years, we should be in a position to allow anyone who wants to advertise within the Southern Africa to be able to use our platform. So that's the vision in the long run.
Thanks very much, Simba. Simba, remember, the reason for this platform is to try and inspire and motivate others out there. If you were talking to a young man or somebody else who is even grown up, who has struggled with seed capital, how did you solve your own problem of seed capital? How did you go about finding seed capital? Because we've got a lot of people who have failed to start and run their own businesses because of lack of seed capital. How did you solve your issue of seed capital?
Okay. The greatest misconception that entrepreneurs out there are having is that finance is the only form of capital that you need for you to get up and running with your business. But for me, that wasn't the case. Yes, we needed the money, but for me, experiential capital was the biggest form of capital that I invested into this business, because I have got a technology background. I studied computer science. I know how to create applications. I know how to write software. That was my biggest capital that I injected into the business. So it's not only that. If there are many, you can have experiential capital in various forms. For example, I can give you an example of stand-up comedians. You know, do you need money to become a stand-up comedian? You don't. All it takes is your skill and your experience. So take time to nurture, grow your skills, and the money will come through. Because normally what investors look for when you go out seeking for capital is what other forms of capital do you have? You can say, I've got land capital. It's good enough for them. You can say, I've got cultural or spiritual capital. This one is a very interesting form of capital that I've seen around. You know, most people, they've started businesses within their churches, you know, and the form of capital that they are taking advantage of here is the spiritual capital, because they understand your disposition, your spiritual disposition. And they know that if they come up with a product, you are at a better position to buy that product. So there are various forms of capital that we need to really look at. Yes, we need the money, but let's look into other avenues of capital. I think that way, I think that is the biggest, that was my biggest form of capital, which is experiential capital. I had the know-how. So the money will follow through, but first, make sure that you have got other forms of capital that you have invested in, like that one I have mentioned: spiritual capital, social capital, land capital. You can talk of and the experiential capital. So that's my take.
Thanks very much for that, Simba. Now your business has started and your business is running, but along the course, a lot of entrepreneurs that we've talked to, they still face the challenge to do with working capital, the day-to-day working capital. In your own instance, how have you managed to deal with the issue to do with your day-to-day working capital?
Yes, that has been a challenge over the course of the years that we've been running the business. And at some point, we were at the point where we were saying, you know, this business is not going to be sustainable anymore. But what really struck us, what we really discovered along the way, is that yes, we needed the working capital, but our business, in our case, it had very low overheads, because we have got a platform that is hosted online. We don't have a brick and mortar store. We don't spend a lot of money on those overhead expenses like rentals and so forth. So in our case, the digital era, we took advantage of that in such a way that our business right now, it has very low overheads, and most of the money that we'll be getting through, it goes straight into profits.
Thanks very much for that, Simba. Maybe my next question would then say, different businesses face different challenges. are you prepared to share with us some of the challenges that you may have faced and how you have overcome them? They may not necessarily have anything to do with the money, but the general business challenges that you faced. What were some of these, and how did you overcome them?
Right. I think we can spend the whole day with this one.
Yeah.
This entrepreneurship journey, it has got a lot of challenges.
Sure.
And I think it has got a lot of risks and challenges. I think most people, this is what they run away from. They don't want to bear the risk. They don't want to face the struggle. But I'll just share with you the ones that I feel were the prominent ones.
Sure.
Okay, so you have mentioned about access to funding. I'm not going to delve much on access to funding. We have all been talking about that. But I want to delve into the investment habits that most of these corporates and the venture capitalists have exhibited. So in my experience, I have turned down about 3 deals from big corporates. I will not share with you the names. From big corporates that offered me outright ridiculous offers. Because right now in Zimbabwe, we have been going through some turbulent times, and people become desperate. I become desperate as an entrepreneur.
Sure.
So people are now preying on that desperation to offer deals that are skewed on for their benefit. So, but what people don't realize is that this will do more damage to the entrepreneur because it's going to kill my spirit. Yeah. So that's the biggest challenge that I've seen in the business landscape, both from the corporates and the venture capitalists. The bad investment habits. I think we need to turn away from that if we really need to grow our nation. Then number 2, I think the biggest challenge that we had was I think the policies that are in place, the business in the business world, they're inhibitive to entrepreneurship, to any form of entrepreneurial activity. I can give you an example of the procurement process. So many times we've knocked doors at companies' premises, and they have told us that our procurement division is the one which does the procurement for any advertising that we do here. But they fail to see the value that we are providing them. They fail to see the cost savings that are associated with the business, the deal that we will be providing them. So, to me, in as much as we can go about saying the business and the corporates, they are doing much to help entrepreneurs. They can set up incubation hubs. They can do a lot of programs out there. But if you don't provide market for that entrepreneur that you provided incubation for, if you don't provide market for that entrepreneur that you provide funding for, then how then do you expect that entrepreneur to grow the business? So those are some of the challenges that we have been facing. We need to redefine some of these procurement processes that we have put in place. For example, I can give you an example of South Africa. South Africa is what is called the Preferential Procurement Act that they passed a couple of years ago. What that entails is if a big organization gets a tender from the South African government, it has to subsidize at least 30% of that money to a small player. If you give that money to a small player, I'm telling you, it will go a long way than if you leave that money with a big corporate. We have seen some of these tenders being abused because of that. So that's other ways that we can put in place measures to try and accommodate entrepreneurs in our corporate world and in our economy. So I think those are the biggest challenges that I have faced. I think the other one is related to the first point that I've given you, which is bad investment habits. We have got this. What I can say is it's called Zimbabwean mentality that is filtered in our business world, where we have got these quick wins at the expense of others. So whenever you want to make a deal, And people always want to get market share that is bigger than you, which is not healthy for growth of entrepreneurs. And then from the corporate world, the biggest challenge that I've also seen is that most companies, they choose to have rivalry over synergy. Instead of working with me as an entrepreneur, they choose to compete with me. Instead of, it's really disheartening that we have seen this happening to a lot of entrepreneurs out there. And worst of all, it's coming from these big entrepreneurs. So from these big corporates. So big corporates, they need to find ways to work with the entrepreneurs, not come up with this exact same product that entrepreneurs have innovated and are trying to build out there. So those are the biggest problems that I think from my journey as an entrepreneur and from the journey of others that I have interacted with, those are their biggest pain points.
Simbarashe, thanks very much. You have been very practical, and I'm so sure that a number of entrepreneurs out there would relate and realize that you have been speaking to some of their own challenges. Simba, my next question would then be the COVID-19 impact. You are a person who has been in the technological space and in the technological industry. What's your analysis, your deduction, what is going to happen after the COVID-19, both in terms of the general economy as well as in your technological space that you are occupying?
All right. So it just happens. People always say that opportunity is come knocking at your doorstep. For me, the COVID-19, it comes as a way to make us think. It gives us a leverage to innovate. So being in the technology sphere, I think that's the best place that anyone can be in right now. And globally, I think you can see the trend that most of the technological software companies, they are getting their shares are soaring high, whilst other fields, the shares, they are dropping, the stock prices are dropping. But with technology, it's a different scenario. So for me, I can say that this COVID-19 has given us a boost. It might come at a time when all the people are not prepared, but for my business, it has really given us a boost. First, we have seen an increase in the number of the users that have been signing up on our platform, because now people are working from home. The digital solutions that are out there are the ones that will be relevant at this point in time. For the technology business, I think it's going to get a boost. But on the general, on other areas of the economy, like for example, I can say tourism. Tourism, I think, is one of the sectors that is going to be hit hardest by this COVID. And we are going to see a lot of foreclosures on a lot of businesses, and we're going to see a lot of people going home, because there is no one who is really traveling anymore, and it's going to take time for people to start traveling again, because right now people have been utilizing their savings. People were not getting any revenue coming in. They've been utilizing. So they have depleted their savings. So it's going to take another couple of good years for them to build up the same savings that they had before the COVID-19. So I think we need to brace up for a huge huge impact on our economy as well, because our economy before the COVID-19, we were in trouble. So with the COVID-19, it's going to worsen that position that we are at. I think as a nation, the government needs to do better in that regard. I think we have seen with other nations, they've really started to cushion companies. They are giving them tax breaks, offering to pay part of the remuneration that employees get. Those are ways that other companies out there, other nations out there are fighting for their economies to so that they don't go down. So I think our nation needs to adopt some of those ways and also start to chip in wherever possible. So I think from my take, I think that is my thinking.
Simba, before we go maybe to my last question, I must commend you for the input that you have given. You've said it very well that a lot of entrepreneurs, if they are not careful, they are going to be forced to give up on their dreams because of somebody who has just come in with a bit of money. They need to watch out for that. So my next and last question, Simba, it's going to be in two phases. I want you to talk to a young entrepreneur. We may have aspiring entrepreneurs who may have been thinking for a long time of starting and running their own businesses. I want your advice on that. And then I also want you to talk to any other entrepreneur who may be thinking of giving up. What sort of advice and motivation would you want to give to those people?
Okay, I think the first, I think we have maybe talked about it a bit, is that for you to start, I know you need money, but you need to invest in all the other areas that I talked about, like experience your skills, invest, or if you can access land, if you can access any form of social or spiritual capital, take advantage of that. If you belong to a church that has got more than 1,000 or more than 500 people, you need to take advantage of that social capital that you have for starting your business. And yes, it's not an easy road, but I can tell you it has got some good fruits for you.
Simbarashe, thanks very much for coming onto the platform. We hope to connect with you very soon. As we have said, information and technology is the new gold. You need to capitalize on that. May you continue to inspire other entrepreneurs. We hope to connect with you again soon. Thank you very much for your time, Simba.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shepherd.
Thanks very much.
Okay.